Hi, my name is Varat Karmali. I'm event manager by profession, and so basically the whole rescue operation, as you all know about, it all started when I saw a video on in Goa 24/7, where I saw a guy asking for help because his house was drowned and he had around 2-3 feet water in his house. So I spoke to Akshay, as I knew him, and I asked him how can I help him, because we have a group where we have around 10-12 off-roading vehicles. So Akshay said, I'll give you his number. If you want to, you can just contact him. So I spoke to that guy, and he said, like, if only we have some special vehicles which can go to his area, then only it's worth coming there, because he itself said that he's 2 vehicles. I think it was one Alto and Wagon or something. That vehicle was also stuck, so there was no point of taking a normal vehicle there. So that's how I thought that obviously we can help him, but a lot of other people who might need such help would also want to know people who have jeeps and all. So basically, with our recent off-roading event, I picked up a picture from there which had all of off-roading vehicles, and posted a status saying, if anybody needs help, we are ready with our 4x4 jeeps, because those jeeps are specially made with a snorkel which can go, the jeeps can go like even in 4-5 feet water. So basically, once that post had around 550-600 shares overnight, I started getting my calls from 6:30 onward. I think I got my first call on 6:30, where a couple of people called me from a village called Chichula in Dhargarh, where they wanted help because their house had around 2-3 feet water. So I called a couple of my friends. I said, let's go there. And by that time, these people were already at RFC, which was happening in Verna. So they said, we'll take time to reach here, because obviously off-roading vehicles are meant for off-road. They cannot be driven fast. So I said, okay, fine. Then I posted another status asking for help if anybody is around North Goa and would have a 4x4 vehicle. So a friend tagged another friend called Gaurav, another friend called Swapnil Gurav. So he also posted his number saying, when we realized he was tagged, he posted his number. I called him. He said, I'm in Porvorim. I said, this is what the thing is, and we might have to go to Dhargarh. He said, I'm on for it. So he came with his jeep. We went together, because I didn't want to go with a single jeep, because the jeep also might get stuck and we would require a second vehicle for the rescue. So we both went together. Another couple of friends of mine joined from Margao, Akhil, Sean, Clifford. They all joined me from Margao and Old Goa. So we all went there. Because another challenge what we were facing there was, because we didn't know the road properly. We didn't know the internal village road, because everything is submerged and you cannot see the road properly, and we don't know the internal roads. So then I got in touch with the joint Mamletdar there, Mr. Anant Malik, who in turn was very grateful, was very helpful. He came on board and he gave us a local person who actually showed us the road to the village. So that happened. By the time we reached there, we had collected a lot of food. We stopped at different places, asked people what do they have ready in some hotels, picked up whatever they had ready, because we didn't want to waste much of time. Lot of hotels by then, I think Navtara and other couple of hotels approached me asking if we need food and they can provide us, but it was time. We didn't have time to go collect food and go there. So we collected whatever we could collect and went there. Once we went there, it was a bigger shock. I thought the water would be at least 2-3 feet, maximum 5 feet. But at some parts, the water was even chest level or even above head. So we were scared. Then we were itself scared to put our vehicles in or not. But then by God's grace, everything went fine. We put our vehicles in. Wherever our vehicles could go, we went with the vehicles. Wherever they couldn't go, we went walking, almost chest level water, distributed food to people. We had another 2 major cases. So while I was there, I got a call from a father who had I think 3-4 years old child, and he had fever from, I think, around 103-104 fever from past 2-3 days. So he called me saying, can we get some medical help? So obviously asking a doctor to come there was difficult. So I spoke to the Mamletdar. He said, rather than getting the doctor there, please try and convince them to come out, because now it's fine, but if the water level increases overnight, it will be very difficult to evacuate them at night. So that was a bigger challenge. We tried our best to convince people there to leave their house and come out. But then obviously they have their assets and stuff at their home, so they didn't want to leave all that and come out. And it was a major challenge explaining them how what wrong they're doing and risking their life. So, but somewhat it helped, but a lot of people denied to come out. So that was one, and then we came across this story which I told you. Then we came across this person who wanted his child to be addressed by a doctor, but they themselves didn't want to come out. So only option I had was, on the way we had collected some medical kits, so we gave it to them. By the time we reached there, anyways his fever was down, but still it was scary. So we convinced them to come out, but they were not reluctant. So whatever, we gave them food, water, drinking water, because since there was all of water and there was no drinking water and no electricity, the phones were dead. They were calling me from the neighbor's phone. By the time we reached there, the phones were dead. People who had phones, they didn't have smartphones because they don't get proper range there. So they didn't have smartphones. They couldn't send us location. It was difficult to trace where the house is because we just knew the name which we heard over the phone. It was difficult to reach there without knowing pinpoint location. So that was one. Then we gave medical requirements for this kid, helped him, try to convince him, didn't work out. So by the time we realized there's another village called Aroba in Dhargad which is almost submerged. We went there. It was almost 7.5 feet water. So there were Drishti lifeguards which were evacuating people from there. There were 2 boats which were trying to get people out. Same issue what we faced, they also faced, that to convince people was difficult to come out of their house. So yeah, that happened, and then we realized that there's another way around through which we can approach that village, and the normal vehicle can't go there. So the locals asked us, can you take us there? We have our relatives there. So rather than risking their life, we thought we'll not take them and we'll just go move that side. On our way, we got another call saying from a couple saying that it's around 5.5-6 feet water in their house. They are already on the first floor and they want their child to be evacuated. So we went there, we tried convincing them, we took a joint Mamledar there to convince them, but it didn't help. So it's the same issue. So they didn't want to move out of their house, nor they wanted some assistance there. They just wanted their kid, whose life they didn't want to risk. They wanted that kid out of their house and dropped it to the relative's place. So we did that. There was no other option. So we had to listen to them. We took the kid, with a small girl, I think 7-8 years old girl. We took her out. We dropped her to a relative's place. Then again the same issue. The food we got with us, we were not able to deliver because 5 feet water. So we had to pick up a tire tube, put a plank over it, put food over it, put water, take it in 5-6 feet deep water, give it to people. I mean, it was so scary. I mean, I think it was Panjim or some city where it would happen, the whole world would know it because everybody uses social media there. But since it happened in the village, nobody knew about it. Even I didn't know it was so massive destruction there. We saw people's housing getting affected. We saw people's housing getting crashed and stuff. There's a place called Ibrahimpur where I think one house got demolished. So yeah, that was the thing, and it was really scary to see such kind of thing. I mean, when I was small, I think it was 10-11 years back, when I was studying in Pune, and I had come down for a holiday, my dad told me about similar thing which happened in Kankan. And because I was small, my dad didn't take me inside the village, but we were like 2-3 days, we were in Kankan helping people. Whatever bit I could do, I was just 19 years old at the time. So whatever we could do, we did our best. Obviously that time we didn't have our 4x4 vehicles. I wish we had vehicles that time by which we can, like the way we help now. Back then we could help, but we didn't have vehicles. So whatever we could do, we did that time. And when I saw this, I could relate it to Kankan floods. It was that massive, like Kankan flood was big. And because it happened in Kankan, it's a road for Goans to go out and come back in Goa. That's why people realized when the road stopped, like how we realized the massive destruction which happened at Amboli or Chorlaghat, because the road was blocked. But here we didn't realize it because it's a small village in Dhargad and there was no proper approach road. So, and there were very less people affected, and I mean, in parts of, in total I think around 500-600 people were affected. But because it was interior parts of Goa, nobody realized how big the destruction is. So that's how it went around. And then obviously we couldn't take our phones. I'm a professional drone flyer. I had actually taken my drone to do a survey there, but I couldn't fly the drone because it was all raining. And obviously we couldn't take our drone, we couldn't take our phones. But it's nice of people that they acknowledged our work, clicked photos, found us through some WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, put up the photos thanking us. But yeah, overall it was a good experience. I request people to acknowledge such kind of work, encourage people who do it, so more and more youth get encouraged by seeing the recognition, and they also, for next time, this time I had to call few people and ask them for help. But if this is continued, this encouragement is continued, then we would have a lot of people who would join us without even asking if something like this happens again. And that would be a smoother move than what we went this time. So we would have a lot of people coming in on their own if this continues.